a food shortage or let's say an affordability problem as far as you're concerned?
Well, it's a mix of the two. The reason why you have unaffordability is that prices are going up beyond the rate of increase of people's income. Now, if you have enough supply will help to moderate the prices. That is what it will do. And then it becomes affordable to the people. So, obviously, if we get more production into the space, the prices will go down.
Okay.
So, that is what is fueling the thinking of, when the president was saying, we will put more lands into cultivation,
Yeah.
we'll produce more this, we'll produce more that,
Yeah.
we'll do irrigation
Yeah.
farming, because he knows that if the supply is huge, not only are we going to feed the people of Nigeria, we have the capacity to feed entire West Africa if
Okay.
we set our mind to it.
Reason I'm asking if it is a food shortage or an affordability problem is because I haven't gone to the market or sent anyone to the market or had anyone say I went to the market and there was nothing on sale. I see all the shops are full of food. I see shop in my area when I'm driving on the roads. I see the markets. There's fish. There's Gary. It's there. It's the price. So I just want to talk about is it mainly an affordability issue or food issue? You talked about the fact that when we have a lot of the items, the price may go down. But I always cite the example of COVID, and I may have asked you this question before or given you this story before that when COVID hit, the price of Gary went up from 500 naira per cost rubber and never went down. And then the market people are also telling us that the cost of transportation because of the removal of petrol subsidy. So how what do you think about that? Are we sure that if we flood the market with more food, that even if the price of petrol doesn't go down, even if the dollar, the exchange rate is not improved to favor the naira, that the price of food will come down?
Let's start from the fact that a lot of the food we eat are imported anyway, and it's important to know that. And that includes even some of the basic agricultural products. So if you bring them in, definitely there are cost implications that are attributable to the issue of dollars. There are also issues of, infrastructure. So you have a disconnect between centers of production and centers of consumption. So the rural roads are not good. A lot of wastage along the line because there are no storage facilities. All those things are all cost. They are cost elements that eventually go into whatever is made available in the market. However, where we see maize, a friend of mine, I do agree with him from time to time, told me last week that maize has crossed 600 naira per kg.
Maize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, maize used to be about 120, 150 max around September, October. Of course, by December, it starts to go up. But by February, I cannot remember when maize has gone that up. In February, for all the years that I've been involved in maize production, in maize. So it means that something is wrong. There are several factors that we have to look at. One of it, for example, is the fact that people are taking our food outside the country. The neighboring countries are not as fertile as we are. Those ones close to the desert and the rest of it, and they come into Nigeria. There are major markets in Kano and the rest of them where they come into and get all this product and get it out. So the volume that is available in the country is not enough for our own consumption. You see, even states like Niger saying, "Look, I'm not going to allow anybody to come and buy my food."
What do you think of that policy?
It's not going to work.
Really?
The only way government can compel that is if government has its own thing that is bringing to the market. You're not going to tell me how I will sell my product or who I will sell it to. But if you bring your own to the market, okay, that's fine. You can sell it to whoever you desire to. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying we should leave everything free and allow foreigners to come and buy off our food. I'm just saying it is not a sustainable way to dealing with the problem that we have at hand. In this same speech of the president, it was a recent one, right?
Yes.
In July, the president gave a speech around the same agriculture. In that July 2023, in that speech, he spoke about 500,000 hectares of additional cultivation. Said, oh, we have arable land, we're not farming enough. Let's put 500,000 more into agri. He spoke about irrigated farming. We are not doing irrigation. So a lot of our farming is being done around the season. Nobody does that in the modern world any longer. He spoke about several things. How we will support this, support that. That was July. We could have done 2 cycles of maize. We could have done 2 cycles of rice. Between that period and now that we are saying these things. So the question is not, we must step beyond the talk. We have the analysis. We know the problems. We have arable land, we have this, we have that. We must leave that space of talking into the space of doing. The real solution is in the doing, not in the talking about what we are going to do. If you said we were going to do it in July, right now what we should be talking about is how far is that journey that started in July. Maybe we needed some months to ramp up and put all the things in place. So maybe it is only 1 season of corn that we have been able to put. Maybe it is not 500,000 hectares that we have put on ground. Maybe it is 200 that has come on stream. But if in July we said that, and in February we're still saying we're going to, when is this going to come? When is it going to come into manifestation?
In a minute or two, what needs to be done to bring down the prices of food, especially the staples?
The government needs to go in there. In the short term, we need to move away from saying, we need to start to do. Corn, maize is a 3-month product, or 3 months plus.
Is it plant?
Is it to plant? So rather than talking about we let go and enter the ground and put the corn right inside the ground, let's be able to see it. That's as simple as that. Issues around security are there. Some of the biggest agricultural states in this country are plagued. Plateau is huge in agriculture. Kaduna is huge in agriculture. So anything that messes with this state will affect our food production as a country. Benue, so dealing with security issue, the government, even in that July speech that I mentioned, recognized the fact that there are issues with rural roads. He mentioned in that speech that we're going to do something about being able to connect the centers of production with the centers of consumption. How well have we done with all of that? Has it remained in speech? Do we need to step it up and do a bit more? But there is no doubt that government must get more involved in the space of doing in the agri space.
But they're doing. They released strategic grains. Though I have not seen. Have you seen any of the grains? Do you know when it was released? Where?
Well,
do you know where the grains are even kept?
I don't know. Where there are silos.
Where?
There are silos all over the country.
Okay.
Yeah, the federal government has silos in the country, across north, south, west, everywhere. Now, do we have all those quantity of grains? I don't know what the stock is.
What grains are we even talking about?
They would typically be maize, guinea corn, and all of those things are they can be kept for quite a while. But what we have seen in the past, the problem is not government releasing this thing. It is, does it get to the right places? The president is not going to distribute corn, neither will the governors do. They rely on people to do it. What we have seen in the past is that these grains that are released do not get to the right quarters. So there is also a problem about transparency within the system that will frustrate initiatives like that. But there are other initiatives that government needs to look at, and I'll tell you one. In the space of grains that we are talking about, when we mass produce grains, there's a season, there's a harvest, and there's a glut in the market. That is why you see maize that is 120 naira becoming 600 naira. There's a glut at some point in time.
Okay,
not just maize, grains generally.
Yeah.
We're saying, produce more. When you produce a lot, at harvest there's a glut, so prices goes down.
So we have so much,
because you have so much on the table at the same time. A kind of intervention that some people have done in other parts of the world is that government comes into that space and start to buy during that period. Why is he buying? He's buying, number one, to stop. Number two, to help the price to come up a little bit. That is important for the farmer. The farmer needs to make profit. It is when he makes profit that he's excited to go back and plant again. So government comes in to ensure that the farmer will not make a loss. He will be able to still make some good money, be excited, and he will go back to the farm and farm again. Here is the other side of that action. The other side of the action is that government has stored up those grains. When those grains are off season, so if you take maize, that will be, start to get more expensive from December. In fact, by May, you almost cannot touch maize again because of the prices. It's expensive.
Okay.
So what government will do is that because it has stored up and preserved these things, he start to release. He start to sell into the market. As it is increasing the supply into the market, it will help to moderate the extreme prices up to a level that is, that the consumers can deal with. Now, the problem with that model is that we're saying, government should do it. Anything that government does here will not be sustainable. So if government is looking at a model like that, then it must be able to transit it onto the private sector, who will take over that management of extreme fluctuations, where the price of an item could go all the way from 120 naira, 150 naira to 600 naira within a period of 6-7 months.